And the House just voted 328 to 93 in favor of a 90% retroactive tax on bailout bonuses. Some House leaders say the purpose of the bill was simple: to tell the executives, not on our watch. Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Charlie Rangel, chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. Chairman, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
Let's start with today's vote. Why only a 90% tax? Why not 100% tax, as some up there in Congress proposed?
It will be 100% when the local and state people come in with their tax. It'll be 100%.
And what about those concerns on Wall Street that this isn't fair to other people, the other people that don't work at AIG?
Well, they're not the only ones that's taking federal funds. And we have a limit that you've had to take in $5 billion of federal funds before you reward people for what we believe on Main Street is a job well done. Now, they have caused a collapse to the system, pain to the people, and losing their jobs, their houses, their dignity, their kids' tuition. They have caused a lot of damage, and the whole idea. Yes.
I was surprised to see that you're in favor now of this bill, because I remember reading earlier this week that you said this, quote, "It's difficult for me to think of the code as a political weapon." You suggested that using the tax code for punitive measures was the wrong thing. Why did you change?
Well, it's not a change, it's weighing it, because standing alone, one might think that the same way that when not-for-profit corporations give excessive pay.
But you are now using the tax code as a punitive measure.
I don't think so. When you find people that are using federal funds and being rewarded for it by this, it's not punitive. You just take the money back. No one wants to hurt anybody. They just want this to be even. And when you cause this much pain, you cannot explain that you deserve a bonus paid for taxpayers' money. So it's just a question of weighing what you want to do. We have limited weapons to deal with, and the people are fed up with what these people have been doing.
No doubt there's a lot of people fed up. Congressman, I have to ask you, there's a number of senators, Senator Snowe and Senator Wyden, who said this would have never happened had their provision on executive compensation stayed in the stimulus bill. Senator Chris Dodd has admitted that he, with the help of some Treasury people, changed that provision while it was in conference. You were a conferee. Did you know that that happened?
I am telling you, as I said on the House floor, that issue never was in the conference. Now, people have debated that they should try to find out.
Well, then how did it get in there?
Well, it's the Senate had it in there, I guess, or took it out there, but we never looked. All I can say is that never became an issue in the conference. I said it on the floor. I'm saying this to you now. But, you know,
can you explain that, though, Congressman? I think this is really important, because a lot of people want to know why Congress doesn't do the right thing when they approve hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. Where's the oversight? And then you find out that there's a number of senators who said, we foresaw that this was going to be a problem. Executive compensation, the bonuses. So we wrote it into law. We're trying to be smart members of Congress. And then you find out in the dark of night, just a couple hours before everybody votes on it, somebody goes in, Senator Chris Dodd and others, and change that provision. You were a conferee, you say you didn't know about it, and then you voted on it. How the heck does that happen?
Slow down a little bit. What has that got to do with the people who took this money in violation of their trust? I am telling you, that was what was on the floor today. We wouldn't have had to do what was on the floor today if that provision had been in there. I am saying that the provision was in there, and we had to vote on the facts and not something that you're talking about or the Republicans are talking about. The issue before us was whether or not people should receive $6 or $7 million for violating the public trust with taxpayers' money. That was the issue. If you and Republicans want to talk about how did it get in there and why, that has nothing to do with my tax bill, and has nothing to do with the fact that 95 Republicans on the floor supported the tax bill.
Is Ron Wyden a Republican?
Ron Wyden is in the other body. I hope you try to take civics 101.
No, because you're saying I'm a Republican, me and the Republican. I'm talking about Ron Wyden was one of the sponsors of this provision, along with Senator Olympia Snowe. Don't say it's only Republicans. It was a bipartisan group that put this provision in there, so you guys, we could have avoided this whole thing.
You may talk faster than me, but you're not going to change the facts that what you're talking about happened in the Senate. The House bill is in the House. I don't know what happens when it gets to the Senate. Now, if you want to stop talking about my bill and stop talking about the 90% tax and talk about something that concerns the House and the Senate, I'll be glad to do it. But what the Senate has done has nothing to do with the vote on the floor today.
Well, I think that's important, Congressman, and that's why you're on to clarify that, because then the blame perhaps should rest with those in the Senate.
That's another issue at another time. If you just say, I want to stop talking about your bill and talk about conferences and talk about whether House members or Senate members look at each other's papers, I am telling you as a conferee, the issue of how you treat those people who get the bonus did not come up in the conference. Now, the name of your next show is that a strange thing happened on the way to the conference, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen on the House side, and I hardly go over there. As a matter of fact, I think the conference was on the House side.
Well, look, I know you guys are trying to get to the bottom of this retroactively by taking back these bonuses. As a journalist, we're trying to get to the bottom of it, of why there's no oversight. Why Congress doesn't know it. Everybody seems to say, we don't know what happened to it. We don't know how it got in there. And you guys are all the members of Congress, and nobody seems to be able to take responsibility. So that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of.
It's your show. You can avoid the issue if you want. I'm saying that the bill that was on the floor today had nothing at all to do with how we treat people who mistreated the American people. We've lost their jobs, the economy is chaotic, and they deserve a bonus. You want to know whether or not other people agree with it. The people have spoken in the House of Representatives. Republicans and Democrats have spoken, and that's the vote. Now, you can continue what you want to talk about. I'll help you with the inquiry, but it has nothing to do with the tax bill we had on the floor today.
Congressman Charlie Rangel, Chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up next, Attorney General Eric Holder under fire today for two decisions, one about the Gitmo detainees and the other about marijuana in California.